This is your dose of daily market wisdom with master trader Nick Santiago. Starting from humble beginnings, Nick has been beating the markets for over 2 decades. He shares with you his take on the profitable trades that will have you moving towards financial freedom in no time at all. To see an in-depth review of his track record and much more, go to inthemoneystocks.com. Welcome. This is your daily dose of daily market wisdom with master trader Nick Santiago. I'm Kerry Lutz. Today is 9/14/20, and this is show number 116. Well, Nick, it's another Monday rally.
Yeah, we got another Monday rally on our hands to start the week. But often when we see this, it usually tells us the rest of the week is going to be pretty choppy. Very, very often when we get that big Monday surge like we are seeing today, the rest of the week we're going to get a lot of backing and filling, and I think we'll look for that again. I just want to point out that this coming Friday is options expiration for the month of September. So it's also a quadruple witching options expiration. That means that we have 4 different asset classes expiring this week, which makes an even more volatile trading week. I think traders got to be on their toes this week. You'll get lots of institutional game playing. You'll hear lots of takeover rumors. Most of them will be false, but you're going to get lots of takeover rumors, lots of ridiculous upgrades and downgrades. It's really a week that's filled with a lot of institutional game playing. So be on your toes for that going into this options expiration, which is also a quadruple witching.
All right. So what's going on with energy here? It's really gotten hammered in the past week.
Yeah, well, energy stocks themselves have been weak you can make a case since really early June. Since June, they've really just declined and pulled back. And that seems to be the case again today. So if you take a look at the XLE, which is the Select Spider Energy Trust, I mean, this thing can't get out of its own way. Crude oil has also pulled back recently, but it hasn't been a dramatic pullback. We went from, $42 to around $37 where it trades today. So it's pulled back a little bit, but energy itself, the energy stocks, they've been somewhat on the weaker side, and they still aren't really giving us a clear indication that they want to go higher anytime soon.
All right, I guess it's a wait and see. And, of course, it's Monday. Last Friday, we had gold and silver finish down mildly, but today they're back.
Yeah, today, if you take a look at the gold market, you have the GLD up $1.38. That's a gain of 0.75%. If you take a look at gold futures, they're up almost 1%, $19 gain there. So gold is very, very strong today. Silver is also pretty strong today, catching a nice little bid. Silver futures up about 1.6%. So again, it just seems to be where you get gold up and down, and that's what we call consolidation. And if you get enough of it, it's building cause to go a lot higher down the road. So I actually like everything that I'm seeing in the gold and silver market. I just like to see a little bit more of this chopping around action for the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, and that's happened since the beginning of August, right? We've been in this sideways pattern.
So if you take a look at a gold chart, you're going to see right around August 5th, that's when gold kind of put in a little bit of a high. And it's really just consolidated ever since then, slightly lower. So I still think we need to do a little bit more backing and filling, but this is what you want to see if you're a gold bull. You want to see the consolidation. I like what I'm seeing in gold. I like what I'm seeing in silver. I also like what I'm seeing in the miners.
Yeah. And what we saw here is gold hit, what was it, 2089 or 2059? I can't remember off the top of my head. It pulled back. Got to the low 1900s, and now it goes down a day, it'll lose $10-20, and then it goes back up the next day, and it just sawtoothing day after day after day.
Yeah, you put a little high in, like you said, on the 7th of August. That was at 2089, and that's on the futures, gold futures. But it's like the Weeble Wobble trade. They get knocked over, but they don't fall down. And, again, we're just putting in a lot of sideways action. I'd like to see another drop, because if you get another drop in gold, what you'll do is you'll shake out the weak hands, and then you'll have people fearful. But that's honestly when the institutions will jump on board.
And if they're not already, we hear more and more anecdotal evidence And one thing that I kind of keep track of is these private placements on these gold and silver stocks. And they have just been booming, Nick. Like 6, 8 months ago, these guys had to go hat in hand to anybody who would write them a check. Now it's like they sit back, oh, you want to invest? Take a number and get online. And that's what we're seeing here. So the money is flowing into the sector on many different levels.
Yeah, that's what happens when the gold price gets high like this. Now these guys that are trying to get private placements done, they're in demand. So, it's funny how things shift and change. But, again, I'm watching the pattern pretty closely, and I like everything I'm seeing in the gold pattern. I just think it needs a little bit more time to chop around and consolidate. But, it's still a very, very strong market.
All right. So looking down the road, you think till the election we're going to be stuck in this pattern, or will there be a moment of recognition where, assuming that Trump's reelection is bullish for the market will come to realize that he's going to be reelected and then shoot forward?
I think right now you still got to be cautious just going forward. I never like to forecast too far out, but we're within that 60-day window. I know we're probably 50-something days away from the election. I think the next 3-4 weeks you got to be very, very cautious here. But I do think at around that time we'll look at the markets again for more upside going into the election. At the moment, though, I think we have to be in caution mode.
Yeah, caution mode, because as a very wise man once said, the future is uncertain.
That's right. The future is always uncertain, but the markets like to climb the wall of worry. Right now, though, we've had a really, really good sell-off in technology, and that was the market leader. Technology topped out, and I'm talking about the NASDAQ, that topped out on the 2nd of September. And again, the high there was around 12,074. Here we are back just above 11,000, and everybody's, thinking that the pullback is over. That's all it was just a 1-week decline of about 1,000 points. But remember, it went down 1,000 points in 1 week. So when it falls and takes the elevator down. When it goes up, it takes the stairs. And sometimes there are a lot of stairs to climb.
Hey, so a lot of what we're seeing on the economy and the market has to do with the so-called COVID-19, so-called pandemic. And as we know now, we talked about this before, these numbers don't look right, especially in Florida, where you and I live. In fact, the day before yesterday, there were 8 people that died from it, and there's the number of hospitalizations keep going down to the point where the governor has just said, open the doors. They're actually allowing bars to reopen. Is this going to happen throughout the country here? Are we getting to the point where they just can't deny the numbers anymore?
Oh, I don't think so. I still think you have states like California, New York. I mean, why isn't New York open? I don't get that. New York City, they're not going to open up bars or restaurants, I should say, until September 30th, and they're only going to be allowed to open up 25%. A restaurant can't survive on 25%. Anybody that's been in the restaurant business knows what the margins are. You pretty much need to be at capacity. And, again, I don't think so. Places like Michigan, New York, and we could talk about Illinois and California, Oregon, and Washington State. I mean, it's kind of disgraceful what we're seeing there, but it is what it is. It's political, and we've been saying that from day one.
Yes, it certainly is political. There's no question about that. But it seems like even in the states where they were less inclined to lock up, the rates dropping so quickly that it's going to be hard to justify keeping stuff shut down in any jurisdiction.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be hard to justify it, but these guys don't care about justifying anything. I've never seen anything like this. I'm watching what's going on in Australia right now, and I'm just shaking my head, and I just can't believe some of the stuff that's happening over there. Is that a test project for what's coming here? I don't know. So we'll have to just look at how it opens up if it does. And, it just baffles me in California how, they're not letting the kids go to school until after the elections. I mean,
that's on tape. That's on tape. The LA school superintendent said, oh, yeah, we'll open the schools after the election. Oh, but that's just, no, we didn't really mean the election. That's just the time frame. I mean, how stupid do they think you are?
Well, I mean, this has been going on for a long time. I mean, if people haven't woken up by now, I don't think they're going to wake up. So it really is a sad state of affairs that, we've been saying, you got to open this thing up a lot sooner. And people that are compromised with other ailments, they're going to be the people that need to isolate themselves or go into quarantine. But we've done everything here backwards, and it's still being done backwards in a lot of places.
Oh, yeah. And it looks like now in retrospect, Sweden did it right. They didn't have a lockdown. They kept schools open. They did reduce large get-togethers, large outdoor events, indoor events. But other than that, everything stayed open. They're done. But what you see here now in Florida, in the rest of the country, we've hit what they call herd immunity threshold. It's very clear we've hit it. And pretty soon, when they're going to have to find deaths. I think that's what they've been doing. They've been finding deaths and hospitalizations, but pretty soon they're running out of ammunition.
Yeah, well, I mean, there's only so many motorcycle accidents and, people that are in hospice that you can say have, COVID deaths. So, I mean, it's the numbers have been distorted from the very, very beginning, and they continue to be distorted. It's kind of sad to see this, but, this is the world we're living in today. It's kind of upside down.
Yeah, it's an upside-down world, that's for sure, but another Monday rally. Anyway, we'll leave it at that till tomorrow, Nick. Just take a look at Nick's site, inthemoneystocks.com, for his trading record. Take a look at the Twitter feeds, at ITMS, at Nick Santiago01, and at Kerry Lutz. Send us your emails, kl@kerrylutz.com. Nick, we'll talk to you tomorrow.
Sounds good, Kerry.
And so concludes another episode of Daily Market Wisdom with Master Trader Nick Santiago. Be sure to go to his website, inthemoneystocks.com. Don't forget the Twitter feeds, at ITMS and at Nick Santiago01.